Okay. So I know all of you. I just met Chris. Um, and I think most of you were normally in a lot of classes or Raise a Healing services together. Um, so, Chris, I'll just tell you, and others that don't know about me, just a little briefly. I've been taking Wanda's classes for probably maybe 14 years, certified instructor for her institute. Um, I'm a Raise a Healing minister of healing. And my background is like retired 37 years of electrical engineering. And then over the past like 14 years doing energy healing work. And I also write children's books about body awareness and mindfulness. So my part of my process is uh, over the years, coming back into my body and really connecting with the wisdom of my body and getting, you know, having a deeper felt sense and that awareness. Hence, the offering for children. The book series is titled "I Am a Feeling Body." They're actually on Amazon. It's a series. This is, I don't know if, well, it might be a little, I'm not sure why it's not focusing. Um, oh, because everything's, well, anyway, it's a book series based on the first one that described 4 tenets: um, grounding, centering, breathing, and feeling. And each of the tenets is an individual book as part of that series. And then I did an offshoot, which is a horseback riding book that is basically a girl and her horse, and it's a story, and it follows a lot of those tenets. It's infused by the other book series of A Feeling Body. Um, and it's about the symbiotic relationship between the girl and her horse, which happens to be my daughter, the horseback riding passion she has. And then I've uh, started a year and a half ago to do horseback riding too, to step into that embodiment of, not only the connection, deeper connection with the horses, but learn to embody the stillness in that movement in riding horses. So it's kind of like the interaction with people and healing. It's on that deeper energetic soul level connection. So today, as you've seen, what I'd like to do is take us through a guided meditation. You guys can actually kick back, relax, and do whatever you feel you want to do to feel comfortable. And we're gonna do it for a little over an hour. We'll do it till like 1:15, and I'm just gonna allow the energy to come in based upon the intent, and I'll describe what I'm seeing and feeling through the process. Your process of what you feel and see and experience is your unique, um, that's your unique experience. And the whole idea is the intent to focus on the spinal column with all the vertebrae, and we'll step through the vertebrae, and we're going to invoke energies that will provide um, mitigation, reduction in any inflammation, tightness, or anything else, and help to get the spine back in its proper alignment. And that's bringing in the divine templates that are specific to us. in our process. So we'll just step through all that and enjoy the energy, because it's all about experiencing the energy through the process with the intent for you to harmonize, to clear out any blocks, inflammation, create alignment, balance, and hopefully walk away feeling, much more, not only in your body but more relaxed, and more energy being able to flow through your entire energy system. So, with that said, I'd like to start with a prayer, and then we'll just go right into it. So, just um, take a deep breath and relax. Divine, infinite spirit, thank you for being with us, flowing through us, and all around us. We ask that we are clear, centered, balanced, aligned, and grounded. We ask for the help of the ascended beings, the guides, the angels, the archangels, the ascended masters, and we ask that these souls receive everything that is in their highest good. And so it is. Okay, I just have to close my door real quick. Okay. So the energy is coming in and creating a vortex around all of us as a sacred space. It's clearing out any debris within our fields, allowing us to just shake off anything from our previous part of our morning, what's been happening before we showed up here. And it's allowing our nervous system to just relax, become calm, allowing our muscles, our tissues to just relax. Letting down, creating relaxation. Allowing our parasympathetic nervous system to do its job. And from the center of this vortex of energy around all of us, we're all held in this space. From the center, the energy expands out, creating space within us and around us to expand the space between all the particles within us. In our subtle bodies, asking our subtle bodies to expand, rotate. I'm just going to go through our subtle bodies, starting with the etheric body. Subtle body 1, I'm just going to ask each subtle body to clear, expand, and rotate. Subtle body 1, subtle body 2, expand, clear, rotate. Subtle body 3, expand, clear, and rotate. Subtle body 4, expand, clear, and rotate. Subtle body 5, expand, clear, and rotate. Subtle body 6, clear, expand, and rotate. Subtle body 7, clear, expand, and rotate. And then the further subtle bodies to clear, expand, and rotate. Asking the subtle bodies to all connect, creating a full mesh of energy in all of our subtle bodies, then which reflects within the internal, our internal physical bodies. More clearing. Is happening. Within the physical body. This is all in preparation for working on the spine. You may feel the spine being prepared. I'm feeling the spinal fluid flushing. You may feel like a sensation through, like a cooler sensation through the spine, just priming. To me, it feels like a priming process through the spine. It's just more preparation. Asking the chakras to respond as well. The crown chakra rotating, asking the crown to expand, creating space in our head, asking the third eye the brow chakra to expand and rotate, and the throat chakra to expand and rotate. All of this preparing more for spine health. We're going to stay here for a moment, and we're going to clear out the head, brain. We're going to create an expansion in the particles in our head and brain. Any tightness in the skull, any bone compression, asking that to expand, because this all is potentially contributing factors in how everything connects through from the brainstem and all the parts of the nervous system down through the spine, priming those areas. Asking for expansion more in the throat. Now the heart chakra expanding, rotating. Solar plexus chakra, that third chakra expanding, rotating. Sacral chakra expanding and rotating. And then the root chakra expanding and rotating. Some clearing out through the back. And just more preparation for spinal, proper flow and alignment. It's setting up a energy flows through down through the core, through the legs, through the arms, out through the toes and fingers, getting more flows of energy happening. There's a shoelace kind of up through the core energy happening back and forth, up and down, all the way above the crown, below the root, creating a deep connection to the center of the earth, and then energy coming back up all the way up through our crown, up and out to the great central sun. Grounded, as above, so below. Then that opens up and creates a bigger torus field, comes up out of our crown, down through below the earth and up, and then also the opposite direction, down and up around, back down through the crown. Feeling the body, the entire body breathing. In and out, expanding with the universe and being one. The heart aligning with that. the harmony of that expansion of energy and then the energy returning, all in a synchronized, harmonized manner. Our whole body is now in sync with the universe, the universal energy. So as we come down through from our crown, we're going to begin on all the way from the brainstem, the amygdala. We're asking any fight or flight response. We create a reset. And come back to equilibrium. Settling into a neutral space. There's a calming, massaging effect on the back of the occipital ridge. You may feel that it's a that occiput is just above C1. It's the bone in the back of the bottom of the head. And there's a green energy coming in for healing. There's a shifting of the skull in a very subtle manner. You may feel your skull being, if you sit very still, you may feel your skull adjusting and the occiput and all the bones in the skull just very subtly, like you have hands on your skull and somebody's just lightly gripping your skull in a loving, healing manner, but just moving it in small degrees just to get the adjustment of where your skull needs to sit. Above your spine. And that all feels that it's positioning the skull to optimally sit on that very first vertebrae. So C1, we have, when we go down the column of the spine, we start off at C1 at the very top, and that's Atlas. It has the job to hold the whole It's the first in line of holding our skull, our brain, our whole head. And when that one or axis just below it, C2, gets misaligned, then the rest of our spine starts compensating, and then we might get other areas of back trouble. So I'm asking for the energy to come in to clear and balance the areas, bringing in the divine template for each of us for our full spinal health, and especially in that area of the occiput C1 and C2, because Atlas and Axis, the first in line, they're so very critical. So as that settles in, I see the etheric connections, the dots. It's kind of like they're constellation points within our upper cervical spine, realigning to our natural state of being, our natural alignment. Clearing any energy related to trauma, anything bringing in anti-inflammatory energy that allows those two vertebrae connected with the rest of the occipital ridge and the rest of the head to relax. Let down. And know that all the energy coming in is in support for our greatest health and well-being. And that just shifts into C3 to align. You might feel your head changing. Allow yourself to just feel the wisdom of your body and your head and different parts of your body to change its position, because the alignment coming in is helping us come back to that equilibrium, come back to where it is best for us to reside in those alignments. C3, there's some of you have inflammation in C3. So allowing that inflammation to dissolve, allowing any viral or otherwise blocks, components release. And you might feel that release in different ways. It may go down and clear out your root. More energy coming in through Now C4, C5, creating more proper alignment. You may feel eye nerve pain. That's, you may have those symptoms as part of the upper cervical being jammed, some kind of out of alignment. That's actually helping to clear out any of that. C4, C5, more energy running down. As this is happening, it's sweeping out and clearing out any stuck energy in those discs between each vertebrae, doing the house cleaning, housekeeping, all through the process. It's sweeping, cleaning out, aligning, dissolving inflammation, and it's just attuning the vertebrae, creating those natural frequencies, harmonics. C5, C6, C7, more energy coming down, sweeping through. There's a vortex of energy coming down through C1 through C7. Spewing out more that doesn't serve us. C8, or I'm sorry, C7 is where it meets the thoracic spine. T1, so C1 through C7. Creating its full alignment to be then in connection with the first thoracic vertebrae, T1. Now there's more subtle changes. You might feel micro movements in your head and cervical spine. It's just moving little by little back and forth, and it's just more attuning the cervical spine so that when we start going into the thoracic, then it has everything it needs to be able to then connect most efficiently, most efficient power transfer. Because what happens analogously, and I'll use electronic terms, when the energy can't move through the spine properly and hits a block, then that stuck energy stays. It reflects, the energy reflects and then doesn't transfer fully to the next part of the spinal column. And then, for example, with the cervical spine, then all that energy stuck up in the head region, which then can create headaches, fogginess, confusion, separation from the rest of our body energetically. So we're we're asking that the connection between C7 and T1 have the maximum energy transfer and alignment, and special attention to the disc and that alignment into beginning into the thoracic spine. Now we step down through the thoracic spine from T1. And as we step through, asking each vertebrae to expand and clear blocks and any inflammation. Anything related to anything in the cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral. We ask along the way, any pain receptors, they're nociceptors is what they're called. Any pain receptors be reset, because those are what create the feedback path when we feel pain, because there might be inflammation. So it sends signals back to the brain. Oh, pain. Warning, warning, alert. And we're asking those nociceptors all through the spinal column to reset. Any toxins, any viruses of any kind of pathogens, anything be dispelled, dissolved, sent off to the light, so that we may have full harmony, neutrality in our spinal column, and anything linked with our major organs and the rest of our peripheral nervous system be fully operational. So as we go down through the thoracic spine, T1, T2, T3, T4, you might feel your alignment changing. I'm asking that the fascia, because fascia is all through our body that connects and surrounds everything, major organs, muscles, everything through our body. We ask that the fascia, that connective tissue, clear, relax, so that it's not pulling on our vertebrae. We go down T3, T4, T5, some releases out of the thoracic spine, T6. You're gonna feel along the way, like I said, subtle micro movements in your spine. Allow that to happen. You're not being delusional here if you feel your spine swaying, because it's all in an effort to bring about that equilibrium and release whatever we need to release. T5, T6, T7, T8, T9, clearing, clearing, aligning, expanding. T9, T10. T11. T12. T1 through 12 are the full set of vertebrae through the thoracic spine. Now it's doing some other adjustments with our skeletal. It's more of a musculoskeletal type of alignment with, I feel it in the arms, hands, wrists, feet, the legs. It's the rest of the body's adapting to that spine. The spinal changes allow the upper part of your body, the mid portion of your body, to now subtly adapt to those changes that happen through our spine so far. Adapting, the organs are adapting. They're all connected through all the nerves and fascia. They're changing. Allow yourself to feel the rest of your body and what's happening in these changes, because there's a lot going on. It's subtle, but there's a lot. The cervical, occiput, everything starts adjusting with everything else adjusting. Because if you think about it, everything in our body is connected, whether it's the fascia, the muscles. We have all kinds of connective tissue running in all kinds of directions. And so, especially with the spine, one thing could happen in the cervical that then, like I said, throws the thoracic off, then the lumbar, and then areas of our body start protecting. Certain areas, they get inflamed. And then we have lack of, it creates a challenge with mobility and stretching. And then we don't have that range of movement that we would otherwise if these areas, because they naturally become protectors, right? And I'm asking that all those areas, that any old patterns of inflammation or existing inflammation be released so that those other areas could come in for support and not have to tighten and protect the areas that are under what feels like being under attack. This could be old trauma from patterns that just the body tenses up certain areas. So we're trying to allow the spine to come back into its natural state, rid itself of all those things that may cause it to become out of alignment or inflamed or protective. So as we go down further from the thoracic spine, we're stopping at T12, we get to the lumbar. And we have the lumbar of L1 through L5 starting at the top of the lumbar. T12 connects with L1. I just felt more root releases. Allow all the energy as we go down through the spinal column, you're going to get more and more releases. L1 through 5, we're focusing on T12 to L1 connection. I'll call it like a sandblasting and blasting, a cleansing energy to sufficiently lubricate between those spinal vertebrae. It's another major junction point as we step into the lumbar. And many of us know and experience lumbar pain more often. I think that's one of the most common areas in spinal challenges with like inflammation and pain. So, and sometimes these areas there's referred pain. So the actual inflammation might be there, but the source is somewhere else of where the problem exists. So we're going through the full spine to make sure that we clear any kind of root cause of these spinal challenges. So as we go from L1 to L2, there's several of you have a lot of compression in that lumbar. Movement and exercise. One of the common thing as we get older, we don't work our core. All through our core with the exercises, which then our core is there to support our lumbar spine. And so the more we focus on strengthening our core, and there's a ton of exercises to do that, then our lumbar is, we recruit all the other areas to support our lumbar. Otherwise, the lumbar takes too much of the blunt force, and it can't support everything in our body. It takes all members of our body to come together, and the weakest link is what then gets to a point and has potential to create an injury. And the injury, and just to be in a positive note, anytime you've ever had an injury, whether it's a broken arm or whatever it is, or torn ligaments in an ankle or what have you, it's always creates an understanding. What is our body trying to tell us? It's trying to tell us, and if you've ever gone to PT, you'll realize that what they do is they know the body so well, and they create exercises in a way that strengthen all the other areas of the body to support that area that's trying to heal. And some of my experience has been, it's very profound because if we're doing exercises and we're focusing on that painful area, that actually is, in my experience, the worst thing you could do. Create access to all those other areas. Like, say, if you have lower back pain, fire the glutes, do the exercises, the squats, the RDLs, the all the core type stuff, to then recruit everything that is a team working to be right there to support the lower back. And it's amazing because then we focus on the areas that are supporting the areas that have pain. And it truly works, because if you've ever sprained your ankle or broke your ankle or whatever kind of injury, you realize that ankle couldn't take the abuse anymore because it didn't have the full chain activated up through the legs, the hip flexors, the glutes, and everything else to be uh, fully supporting the ankle. The ankle took all the abuse itself, because the other parts of her body weren't turned on. They were either fast asleep, and it's about waking. So I'm asking that all parts of our body become much more awakened through this process and have the felt sense awareness of what is wanting to come alive, what's been sleeping for years. So as we go down through lumbar, L1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I see the lumbar now saying, wow, thank you so much for sharing those words to the rest of the body, to say, hey, you guys all have to come and support one another. And now there's more awareness as I talk to your lumbar spines to say, they're basically grateful that they now are being heard. At the beginning of hitting the lumbar, they weren't being heard. Now they're being heard. The other parts of your body know what they need to do to create full support, a team effort within the body, because the weakest link will be the one that has the highest potential for injury or failure. Bringing in the empowerment. That allows I feel the pelvic floor to drop, to feel now more grounding coming in. As we get below the thoracic or the lumbar spine, L1 through L5, then we get to the sacral vertebrae, S1 through 5. To me, I feel there's a lot of flushing out of the root. So as we've gone down through the spine, all that, just like cleaning out a vertical pipe, scrubbing the inside of a pipe, all that soot, all of the toxins and everything else, all the blocks are releasing and just going down through, and it's just like cleaning all the soot out so it can just drain out. There's a lot of old stuff in there that I'm feeling that's been clearing. You're going to feel like when you walk away today, my sense is like newfound alignment and being basically power washed from within and feeling a new sense of vitality, mobility, stability, alignment, awareness, connection, and energy distribution. As the sacral spine, S1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're coming, now that we've actually gone through all the vertebrae, now there's kind of a macro effect of more subtle adjustments. It's as if you got your tires balanced on your car and then you have those balanced and then you do the alignment on your car and then everything can ride smoother, freer, more fluid movement overall. Allowing that energy to continue to move through more root clearings, more root clearings. This is all tied in also with, like I said, a lot of clearing old trauma, coming back to equilibrium, clearing those cells of old trauma. Trauma response. As a wave of energy just comes down through the body, washes it all away. There's more clearing out of the head, the eyes, eye sockets. Now it's working on the grounding this in, creating a activation in our feet to feel more connected with the earth, which when we're more connected with the earth, that actually also dissolves the inflammation. Inflammation is very acidic. It wants to have a way to get back to more of a alkaline, balanced state, connecting with the earth, getting the negative ions. We're polluted so much in our everyday life with the electronics, which create an overabundance of positive ions. We need more connection with nature, earth, staying grounded, to have that proper balance with the negative ions. That's why people feel so good at the beach with all the salt water. It's just natural cleansing with the negative ions. Also in nature, same effect. The energy just comes down through, sweeps through our whole body now, just showering us with more cleansing energy. You might feel there's activation through the skin, and the skin being the largest organ in the body. It's creating a fortified container at the level of the skin. It's our first point of entry, and that first point of protection outside of us, from outside of us, and inviting us into feeling more solid within our physical body. At the same time, feeling expanded and empowered out through our subtle bodies and connecting with all that is. So it's where we're returning back to where, almost like where we first started. So as we step through the process, it's ending sort of where it began, back with the subtle bodies and breathing and feeling the connection with all that pervasive energy outside of us and within us. But this time, having been through the process of clearing, aligning, and redistributing energy back to our equilibrium, back to our proper spinal alignment, you may feel that difference and remember where we started, of where we are now, as to how that feels different. because our core channel now has much more maximum power transfer. Feeling lighter, more expanded. More balanced, grounded. Another shift. And we're being sealed. And we're being put in our own bubble of white light. Having our own sacred space as we walk out there, whatever we do the remainder of the day, so that we can stay preserved with our optimal flow of energy and our spinal health in all we do. Everyone's being blessed. And that feels complete. So when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes, wiggle your hands and toes, and just allow your body to come back into a sense of what's all around you in a new way. And feel that empowerment from within. So I thought we have about 15 minutes left. And I thought we could chat a little bit. If there's any questions, if you guys want to, I'd be happy to, I'd love to hear your experiences if you would like to share what you felt through the process and um, what your awareness was um, with the energy that came through, and anything that may have helped you in your process, your unique process. So I will open it up to whomever would like to chat or share.
Okay, Doug, this is Barb.
Hey, Barb.
Hi. I included 2 other people in my healing, and I could just feel the energy be redirected to their spines when you went through a particular area. It was really interesting. But I just feel like, I just feel that. What did she? What did she say when you space out the cells? When you, I'm trying to think of what Wanda says all the time. when you take the energy and you expand it.
Oh yeah, it actually just creates more space between those particles.
Right.
And then in the process, anything that's has density in certain areas can dissolve and drop away. Um, yeah, because it's really the congestion of energy
Mhm.
that needs more space so that it can actually dissolve.
Thank you. That I hadn't done that in a while. That's something that Wanda does a lot too, and I
Mhm.
could really feel it. Thank you.
Oh, sure, that's great. Yeah, I was as we were getting what going through it, I was feeling that um there was some other intent, which is totally fine. I could have brought that up into the beginning if there's anyone else that you guys wanted to bring into the healing circle. But I think those other people, I truly feel others got that healing
Mhm.
energy as a result if we're, us being connected with them and having that intent. So that was wonderful. Any other experiences? Chris, what was your
Sure. It was actually quite Wait, can you hear me, by the way?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, it was quite significant for me actually, because it's kind of funny how you're talking about like how the fascia is so such a prevalent part of our body. And I had recently tried to do two was it myofascic release massages, like whatever they're called for, trauma related work.
right,
And it
right.
was and one it like I had to stop because it almost released too much.
Mm,
And also like I just found it interesting that they took note of what parts of like what limbs were longer than the others, and where where things are overcompensating. And in the subtle movements when you were talking about the fascia, I could feel my body stretching and realigning in like those exact areas, and that felt really powerful.
Oh, that's awesome. There's
Yeah.
so to expand upon the fascial, um, it's a newer, so I've been doing a lot of research over the last recent months about the fascia. And I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I there's this healing modality, and it's more tied in with the physical therapy disciplines, that's called fascial counterstrain. So
Mhm.
there's an original what's called strain counterstrain process, and I won't get into all that. You could just uh, look at some of the videos, Google it. But basically, what it does is it focuses purely on the fascia. So years and years back, when all the medical school, and I don't know what they do today, but it's been an under um, utilized area where they cut a cadaver, and they just pull the fascia because all uh, that webbing and everything, they pull it out and just throw it aside, and it's just like, oh, this is just gook, But it's like I'm finding through my exercise and process is that it is so critical. Most people think that it's like you have muscle pain and strain, and whether you go to a chiropractor and get adjustments or whatever, that fascia is massively so important
Mhm.
with tied in with, chronic pain and pulling and congesting. And, we all know about like foam rolling and all that kind of stuff because it helps release adhesions and things with the fascia. But if you want to go to that next level of practitioner, which they're so sought after, counter strain, fascial counter strain is the next big thing. I mean, we're talking these practitioners are months out in appointment availability. And I found that also a combination of practitioners that do craniosacral and fascial counterstrain have toolboxes that expand in more multidimensional areas, because it's working on the whole system. It's all very holistic and not targeting a specific, because in my view, yeah, I've been going to chiropractors for years, but all that does is it's just in my view, is it's just a process that can get us back in alignment, but it's not going to go necessarily to root cause. And root cause is, there's many reasons of like root cause, of problems, but so much of it is very related to fascia and adhesions. And then, because when the fascia gets tight, then it creates adhesions. And then when the adhesions happen, then they spoke off like spider webs to then draw in other areas. And then you're just literally potentially like all cramped up. And, then that's when the inflammation comes in. And anyway, it's, as you know, and it can be very overwhelming, like you said, in, going through those releases, because all that, also lymphatic drainage and all those other areas they have to go somewhere to release. And a lot of that stuff goes into the bloodstream, and then it has to get, our body has to allow that all to process. So it can be a little overwhelming at times. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a
Oh,
great.
no problem. Oh, thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was very effective. Very, very. I felt movements.
Oh, wonderful. And they're very, did you notice how like very subtle it is?
Yeah.
Like it's almost, you might, you just kind of feel your body waving in micro
Mm.
movements.
Yeah.
But
That was pretty cool. And I just, yeah, I wouldn't know how else to better say it. And it just felt like, I don't know, you put it the best.
I'm glad you experienced. That's the key part. If you experienced it, that's what my intention was for, you know, each of you to get some kind of like felt sense experience of all of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So any other comments or experiences you guys would like to share? This is like really helpful. I love hearing what you individually share or have the awareness about through these, because then I can just like expand upon it in other, um, other opportunities to work with groups.
Douglas, this is Donna. A couple things for everyone. I did put the website for Counterstrain in the chat, and then also Douglas's book. I know you have multiple books, Douglas, but I did put I Am a Feeling Body if you would like to look into the series. And I do have a question. Do you see clients privately? If
I
someone did want to meet with you?
Yes, and anyone could reach out to me. You could actually also put my phone number if you like in there. Um, the or email is in the there's an email on Feeling Body. I Am a Feeling Body website. So either way, you could text me, call me, and we could talk about any um, individual sessions. I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to facilitate, of course.
Can you provide your phone number and I will put it in the
Oh,
chat
sure.
just to save me from having to look it up?
Yeah, it's 301
Uh-huh.
351
Mm-hmm.
0350.
Okay, and the email that you prefer?
Okay, so that's Douglas E. Macauley. That's DouglasEMacauley
Mm-hmm.
at gmail.com.
Okay, I will put it in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, and my book series, it's not only a beginner reader's book for children. The books are intended, it's a feeling-based set of books series. And it's exceptional for children ages like 8 to 12. But I also do classes that are adult-based. And it's all based on the same tenets in the book. So your experience of what you went through today is what my books embody. So when a child reads the book or an adult, it's dropping into that felt sense in the body. And then so I used to, when the schools are actually in session, I've worked with mostly elementary schools where I'll read and go through the, read to the classes. And the common thing that the children come back with of how they felt beforehand and afterwards is they felt a sense of calmness and peace and harmony within themselves afterwards because they connected with the energy of the words and the illustrations in the books as I read it. And we all know that there's energy in the words of spoken words, not only written words and illustrations, but that's what it brings forth, the energy of having that calmness, that feeling grounded, centered, aligned, and so on, and having that connection. The gift is having the connection within your own body, right? So I never had that as a child and never had the resources or support to be able to. So these are my gifts to the children now because they don't always have the resources to say, how do I like stay in my body? How do I have awareness in my body? So that's what I love teaching the most, is helping the children, connect with the wisdom of their body. Because again, I never had that as a child. So I was always outside of my body and over the years have come back into my body awareness. So that's the contrast. Any other thing anybody would like to share? I think we're about at the time, but any other comments? Well, thank you all for joining today. I really appreciate it. And um, I look forward to more other times, Rays of Healing. So I'll be online whenever that next time is. And I'm sure I'll see you guys in other Rays of Healing and classes.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for
So,
today.
yes,
You're
thank you
welcome.
very much.
All right, you're welcome. Have a wonderful